The first thing is the Boise. This is Boise Police Department General Report, April the 4th. So it's important to note that April the 9th was the same day in Christina's TikTok where she said she got love bombed by Lauren. And then later that day, Lauren was like, what the fuck? Da da da, right? All right. So it says 4/9/2025 that it occurred. And then it was reported on 7/23/2025. And then it says it's at the Bitter Creek Ale House in Boise. The charges is stalking, second degree misdemeanor. I was contacted by blank and blank at the Bitter Creek Ale House on 8th Street on the above date and time. Blank explained to me that a group of women, including L, C, and J, and blank, have engaged in a course of conduct since April of 2025 until the present that has caused her great alarm and fear. She advised that she had a falling out with L. I think that's Lindsay, but it's all redacted, so I'm just going to say L, who at one time was her colleague. Since then, she was approached and harassed by J in Arizona, that's Janice, at a courthouse, and had to have the bailiffs tell J to leave her alone. All of the females have made TikToks disparaging blank and cyberbullying her. On 7/23/2025, blank asked for a seat in the press area of the Koberger trial, and L started to yell at her. Later in the evening, blank and blank were eating at the Bitter Creek Ale House. They were approached by L and blank, who were harassing them and trying to intimidate them. Lori and blank were asked to leave by the staff. Blank provided me with videos of 2 different incidents, including the incident at Bitter Creek Ale House. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behavior in the videos. I contacted 3 of the females. They all advised me that blank had contacted them several times, and the incidents have been back and forth. And then we have the people involved here. Sergeant Matt Jacobs and Sergeant Corey Turner. Route to the city prosecutor. Then we have redacted. Now, this is the initial response. On the above date and time, I was working as a sergeant for the Boise Police Department in full uniform and in a marked patrol vehicle. While working, I self-assigned to a harassment call. Self-assigned? I don't know what that means, but at Bitter Creek Ale House, located at 246 North 8th Street. When I arrived, I spoke with the calling party, blank, via telephone. Blank advised me that a group of females she is familiar with followed her to the Bitter Creek Ale House and confronted her. Blank advised that this group of females has been harassing her, creating TikToks about her, and bullying her since April of 2025. Blank advised that she used to work with a female named Blank, was her producer, and last year they split ways. When they split ways, Blank made a comment that Blank was a bully. According to Blank, since that time, Blank and her friends have been harassing her. Blank said that they are making TikToks about her, cyberbullying her, and contacting her in various locations. She advised that on April the 9th, 2025, in the Maricopa County Courthouse, a female by the name of Blank approached Blank about hurt feelings. She recorded Blank and their private conversation in an area that recording was not allowed. Blank texted with Blank to not share her private conversation. This turned into a back and forth battle via text and emails. On April 15th, Jay approached Blank to speak with her at the courthouse in Arizona. Blank advised Jay that she did not want to talk to her. Due to her actions, Blank was concerned enough that she advised the bailiff at the courthouse. She advised the bailiff. Fuck, I'm losing my own place. At the courthouse of Blank's actions. The bailiff at that time contacted Janice, which is not redacted, and advised her to not speak with Blank any further. Blank said that after that contact, they made even more TikTok talks about her. TikTok talks. See that? TikTok talks. Here, I need to get my highlighter so you guys can see where we're at. See the TikTok talks? We're going to have some TikTok talks. And they even made comments that Blank wanted to rape her own brother. Blank said that everywhere she goes, they will videotape and harass her. Blank advised that it got bad enough that she sent a cease and desist letter to Lindsay, which is not fucking redacted. On this date, which was, on this date, which was 7/23/25, Blank arrived at the Coburger trial sentencing. When she arrived, several of these females, including Elle, were also present. Due to the small amount of seating, attempted to find a seat, and the only seats that were available were close to Elle. She asked Elle if she could sit near her, at which time Jay, who is a friend of Elle, told Blank to stop speaking to Elle because she already sent her a cease and desist letter. I don't know. Okay, anyways, later in the evening at about 2300 hours, which is 11 p.m., Blank was at Bitter Creek Ale House. At this time, she was having dinner with her new producer, Blank. While they noticed that Jay was filming them from outside the restaurant, and she flipped them off. Blank felt uncomfortable, so she began filming as well. They were then contacted by Blank and Blank, who came up from behind them. According to Blank and Blank, started yelling at them and was trying to intimidate them. She was speaking with them about the many confrontations they've had over the past few months. Eventually, the waiter came over and asked Blank and Blank to leave. They walked away and went across the street to a restaurant and stayed there for approximately an hour. Blank believed they were staying there so they could confront them when they left the restaurant. This sounds like a big case of paranoia to me. And that's the video where we have Grayson saying, well, they're across the street. This is how people get murdered. Here we go. I was able to contact 3 of the subjects that Blank spoke to me about. One of them was Blank. One was Jay. And one was Blank. Jay said that Blank had been talking shit about her husband back in Arizona. She wanted to speak to her about it, so she contacted Blank at the Maricopa County Courthouse. Blank contacted the bailiffs. The bailiffs came and spoke with Jay. She advised that the bailiff took her side and knew that she was not threatening. Jay just wanted to speak with Blank about her talking badly about her husband. She advised that the bailiffs and her chuckled about the situation, but she was also advised that staying away from Blank would be the best course of action. Blank showed me the video of this interaction, and I did not see anything threatening or intimidating about the contact. This is about Janice. Remember, we saw Janice walking up to the courthouse, and Lauren came behind her, and she was like, "Are you recording me? Are you recording me?" That was the interaction. Then Jay told me they were at the restaurant before Blank arrived and that they were eating food. They had been there for approximately 2 hours before Blank arrived, and she arrived as they were leaving. Jay noticed that Blank was at the restaurant. However, she did not contact her. So it was Janice's husband. She advised that her group did stay in the area, but that they had gone across the street to a restaurant to have carrot cake. She said they were not staying there to contact Blank. I also spoke with Blank. She advised that she did not speak with Blank and Blank at the restaurant bar, but was only there to speak with them about contacting Elle at the courthouse and just wanted to know why they had done it. She was not attempting to be confrontational or intimidating. Once they were asked to leave, she left immediately. Also advised that it has been Blank who has come up to them many times and has attempted to continue to contact with them. She said it has been back and forth between the subjects and not one-sided at all. I spoke with blank, and she said that on this date she went to blank at the restaurant to speak with blank and was the one speaking with blank. Once they were asked to leave, they left, and then they went and had dessert across the street. She also reiterated that blank has contacted them several times, and it has been a back and forth conversation, not one-sided. I did not have contact information for blank, and I was not able to make contact with blank, but did advise all subjects that I spoke with that this would be put into report. I also advised all of them that they should no longer have contact with blank. I also advised blank and blank that they should no longer have contact with these subjects. Blank advised me that they had videos. I provided them with a community contact to add those videos to Axon evidence. Those videos should be added. I watched some of the videos blank provided me. While watching the videos from Arizona and the contacts from Idaho, I did not see anything that was threatening or intimidating. However, blank does feel intimidated due to the fact she's had several contacts with them and seems to be escalating in her opinion. Wow. Okay. Now we go down here to the statement. I don't know who wrote this one. This is written on 7/23. A group of women have been harassing, stalking, and cyberbullying me for months. Their names: blank, 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 blank. I am a podcast host reporter who covers criminal trials. This must be Lauren. Blank was my producer and did graphic design. We fired blank and months later sent her a cease and desist due to defamation. Something from professionals who stated things she was saying. On April 9th, 2025, inside Maricopa County, Arizona courthouse, blank approached me about hurt feelings. She recorded me in the courthouse while there was no record order in play. Once I learned this, I requested she not share my private convos, and after numerous texts, I blocked her, and she resorted to email. I then requested blank not to contact me again because I felt concerned for my safety and her sharing my private conversations. Email will be in evidence. Blank continued to film and approach me at the Arizona courthouse. I started recording for my safety. And one morning, as I attempted to enter the courthouse for the trial, reporting on Lori Daybell, on October 15th, 2025, she approached me. I asked her to leave me alone and recorded the incident on 2 separate recordings. The bailiffs at the courthouse, God, she even wrote up the side of the page, y'all. This is like crazy. The bailiffs at the courthouse saw these videos, will add evidence, and requested Jay to stay away from me. Once I went home to Nevada, a cyberbullying campaign was launched by all women on TikTok and Instagram. Blank was the face, but she used videos and photos of the other women listed who also, oh my God, look at the bottom of this, who also commented to back up the bullying campaign. I have never responded to the incessant attacks, although painful, including suggesting I wanted to rape my dying baby brother. Oh my God. Stop it. Blank, 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 blank all appear and comment in internet bullying. Now at Koberger's sentencing, I continue to do my work without drama or giving them air. Oh, this is getting weird. Or attention while they continue to film, harass, or get angry if I ask for a seat at a press conference. Tonight, while eating dinner, we started filming because I felt fearful. They approached my table, video and evidence, while something, leave us alone, blank watched and flipped me off, blank watched. Holy fuck. Now, who thinks that she organizes her own podcasts? Not me. Here's Grayson. Look at Grayson. Stark difference. For months, there has been a small group of girls who have been harassing my boss, Lauren, both in person and online, and following her state to state to physically approach and intimidate her. It started when blank approached Lauren in front of the courthouse, filming her when there was a no filming rule. Audio of that has since been posted online. After that interaction, I witnessed blank receive threatening phone calls. Then a couple days later, Jay approached blank at the courthouse following her in because she was being threatening. The bailiffs made her stay away or they would remove her. Then Jay would continue to try to linger near Lauren. So I always stayed nearby to try to keep Jay away. If I saw her, I would just tell blank I saw her and she would walk away because she's scared. Then in June, they launched a TikTok page. They launched a TikTok page about blank blank. Started it after blank told her to leave her alone, never contact her again, and don't tell one crime. Also in June, blank continued to follow blank around the courthouse in Arizona. Lori Day, blank are all involved in that TikTok. Today at court, we were looking for seats, very limited, in the press conference room at the Ada County Courthouse. Blank asked if a seat was available, and Lori started yelling at her about a cease and desist she had sent to blank. After that, blank was putting a camera up a couple feet from my face to intimidate me. I ignored, and she continued filming me outside. Then at dinner tonight, we noticed Jay filming Lauren and me. We did not know she was around prior. Blank turned her camera on, and all of the sudden, blank came up from behind, yelling at us, trying to intimidate us. The waiter came over, and we asked him to make them leave. Blank had finally walked away by then. Then they all walked to the restaurant across the street, sat there watching us to wait for us. Our waiter let us stay. I saw them there because I had walked out for a phone call and saw blank sit up and move like she was going to approach me. At this point, I am fearful for my safety. I'm fearful for Lauren's safety. They follow us state to state with one intention: to stalk us, intimidate and harass us. They are showing a clear pattern of escalation with every unwanted and unwarranted contact they make. That's the end of that one. All right, here's the next one. This one's 9 pages. Give me a second. Okay. This is Lauren Matthias, petitioner against Christina. Ex parte motion to enforce 9/4/25 civil stalking injunction, and for
making it happen.
sanctions.
I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen, for your super chat. I would love to see a handwriting analysis of that mess, too. CA, thank you. What's good for the goose, good for the gander. She makes money showing drama, and then when another channel shows her drama, she cries. Yeah, pretty much par for the course. So we have Honorable Judge Casey L. Wright, Petitioner Lauren Matthias, by and through undersigned counsel, hereby files this verified ex parte motion to enforce civil stalking injunction and for sanctions pursuant to the Utah Rule of Civil Procedure 7A and states as follows. On September 4th, 2025, this court issued a temporary stalking injunction against Christina, which contains specific orders prohibiting stalking behavior, contact with petitioner, and specified individuals, and requirements to stay away from petitioner's home, work, and other specified locations. Respondent has willfully and repeatedly violated multiple provisions of the CSI beginning the very same day it was served, as detailed in the second declaration of Lauren Matthias, and supporting exhibits attached hereto. This is Janice. Hold on. We have Lauren's declaration. Damn. That's a lot to read. The matter is urgent as respondents' violations are escalating in frequency and severity, placing petitioner in immediate danger. Petitioner respectfully requests expedited review and seeks enforcement of the CSI, an order holding respondent in contempt of court and appropriate sanctions. Statement of facts. The CSI issued by the court on September 4th, 2025, specifically orders respondent to A. Personal conduct order, not stalk the petitioner, including not following, threatening, annoying, or harassing the petitioner in a way that would cause a reasonable person to suffer emotional distress or fear for their safety. No contact, phone, text, mail, email, or communicate in any way with petitioner in a way that would cause and following protected persons. The protected persons are John Matthias, Grayson, and the son who is redacted, and her immediate and extended family. V, business coworkers, employees of True Crime Podcast docuseries. Stay away from petitioner's current home or future home, her work address, petitioner's vehicle, online forums, and other social media accounts. And then right here, under V, we have Crime Con Expo. Dirty, dirty. Dirty, dirty. I'm turning off my webcam for a second.
How long are you going to be, you think?
A while. Why?
Well, I'm trying to organize this.
Okay, sorry about that. So that's where she threw in the Crime Con Expo. That's where the sneakiness comes in right there. Totally contrived, completely planned, etc., etc. Additional orders. Do not come within 500 feet of petitioner, her immediate extended family, coworkers, employees, place of business. Cease and desist any and all online activity and communications, direct or indirect, relating to or referencing petitioner, her family, coworkers, or professional associates. The CSI clearly states that violation of these orders is a criminal Class A misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a fine, with second or subsequent violations resulting in more severe penalties. B. Respondent's violations of the CSI. Despite being served with the CSI on September 4th, 2025, this is CrimeCon time, accepted by her husband blank, who confirmed he would inform her, respondent has engaged in multiple willful violations of the court order. A. Violation of online activity prohibition. Later the same evening she was served, respondent published posts on both TikTok blank and Instagram blank, accounts she created to target petitioner. Posted a video with lyrics, "Whoops, you messed up and then you got caught. Whoops, you messed up. Now you're crying about what you lost." Okay. Responded to a friend's comment about telling the real story with "as you wish." What? Violation of stay away order, CrimeCon Expo. Respondent traveled to and attended CrimeCon Expo, which was specifically prohibited in the CSI. Approached CrimeCon security acknowledging she was aware of the CSI, but intended to attend anyways. We observed by law enforcement walking through CrimeCon in close proximity to petitioner's location. When confronted by officers, admitted she knew about the order and that her husband had sent it to her. We saw the body cam. Was physically served again and told immediately to leave or face arrest. Additional online violations. After being removed from CrimeCon, posted 2 more videos on TikTok and Instagram. First video, mouthed audio saying, "Don't lie on me," with threatening undertones. Second video, performed lyrics from Eminem's Worms, including, "I'ma make you eat your words." A direct threat. Exhibit 24. Violation of 500-foot order, stay away. Stood just feet away from petitioner in hotel bar while holding a camera. Hey, Joe Schmo, I hope you're fucking happy with yourself. What a joke you are. I'm sorry, there's no forgiveness for that. That's fucked up. It's fucked up. Only departed after observing petitioner's producer on phone with Aurora police. Photos document respondent within feet of petitioner and producer Grayson. Exhibit 25. So from now on, Joe, we shall call you, instead of Joe Schmo, you're now Exhibit 25. Exhibit 25 is your new name. Second violation of stay away order, September the 7th. Again, came within 500 feet of petitioner and bar during lunch. Was escorted by security to restaurant directly behind petitioner. What the fuck? She called again on the 7th? Indirect harassment through third parties, September the 10th. Respondent's associate, Lori Hellis, published YouTube video discussing the CSI and using petitioner's name. Respondent commented on the video. "Thank you, Lori. Thank you," with crying emojis. Exhibit 26. Video resulted in threatening emails and comments directed at petitioner. Exhibit 27 demonstrates respondent encouraging others to harass petitioner on her behalf. That's where she accuses Lori. These repeated and escalating violations have caused petitioner extreme fear for her safety and that of her family, demonstrating respondent's complete disregard for this court's authority and deliberate intent to continue stalking and harassing petitioner despite the active injunction. And then it says Utah civil law, the legal authority. And then they have their verified motion and supporting evidence. So the request for relief is as follows. 1, issue an order to attend hearing, required respondent to appear personally before this court to explain why she should not be held in contempt for violating the order. Find respondent in contempt of court for willfully violating the court's orders on at least 6 documented occasions between September 4th and 10th, 2025. So my question is, who documented the 6 times besides, is it TikToks, the 500 feet, all of that? Impose maximum sanctions. A fine of $1,000 each, totaling at least $6,000. Confinement in jail for the maximum 30 days. She want what? What? Oh my God. Joe Schmo, I think you were hired to do this. I think this was completely planned. Confinement in jail. They wanted her to go to jail for 30 days. Pay all of the petitioner's attorney's fees and costs. Payment of petitioner's travel and security costs necessitated by respondents' violations. Security? Oh my God. 30 days and she has an infant. Christina has an infant. They wanted the court to impose confinement for the maximum 30 days on a mother of an infant. And then make her pay all the attorney's fees and costs, travel, security. And Joe helped this. Yeah. Sick. Convert the temporary CSI to permanent. Modify the CSI to 1,000 feet. Exhibit prohibition on directing third parties to harass petitioner.
I want to say thank you.
Pay for the next
making it
round of
happen.
cheek fillers.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Thank you, Pines. Prohibition on creating any new social media accounts. Oh yeah, don't forget Megan was the videographer for Exhibities. I'm already getting notifications of nasty comments on my last video. That's cute. Keep it coming, Hidden Gems. Because it's Jay and it's justice if you're nasty. Hidden Gems. Come on, people. You got hidden something. It ain't gems. Immediately refer for criminal prosecution. Misdemeanor stalking with recommendation for enhanced penalties due to multiple violations. issue a bench warrant if respondent fails to appear. Oh my God, thank you, Law Nerd, for your $20 super sticker. What did I miss? Oh, GPS monitoring. Oh, how did I miss that? What the fuck? Oh my God.
What?
Holy hell. She wanted to put Christina in jail, have her on a tether. I wondered why the name of this file was ankle monitor. Holy fuck. You see that? GPS monitoring if technologically feasible. What's up, Cram? I am stunned.
For making it happen. I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, for your super chat. 200 to go. Hit that like.
For making it happen.
Law Nerd Amber, welcome to Cooterville.
For making it happen. Thank you.
Wow. Stephanie, it's good to have you. Wow, man. Okay. I missed that one. So, 1,000 feet. No new social media. GPS monitoring. Ankle bracelet. Immediately refer for criminal prosecution. LW, that's why I love you, girl. Mandy Strong, welcome to Cooterville.
A brother out here.
Come on in and remember to close your legs. Okay, so then she wanted misdemeanor stalking with recommendation for enhanced penalties due to multiple violations. Issue a bench warrant if respondent fails to appear. And she's saying she's got to appear in person. In the beginning, it did. And then whatever the court deems proper to protect the petitioner from continued stalking and harassment. This is signed Monday, September 17th, 2025. The attorney is Dastin Dio. Dastin Dio. I'll put that in the chat. I know you guys were wondering who the lawyer was. This is insane. Okay, let's move on to the next. Oh, wait. Certificate of service. That's it. Okay. Close that one. We can close that one. Okay. This one is going to be Respondent Christina. Memorandum in opposition to request for civil stalking injunction and to the pre-hearing brief. The court should deny the requested injunction. Petitioner Lauren Matthias is a public figure with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers on YouTube and a variety of other platforms. Matthias uses these platforms to speak out on a range of issues, including current events, legal news, true crime, and culture. But Matthias also has a history of using various means to deprive others of the very same rights she exercises. Several individuals have been the subject of cease and desist letters or false police reports. The requested injunction is simply Matthias's latest device to shut down speech, which she disagrees. The requested injunction lacks merit under Utah's civil stalking statute. Blank has not spoken with or otherwise communicated with Matthias directly or indirectly since April of 2025, when she responded to a string of text messages from Matthias. Christina has not initiated any communication with Matthias since March of 2025, before their friendship fell out. Matthias bases the requested injunction on a tangled web of allegations regarding Matthias's own conduct and the conduct of Matthias's or other former friends and acquaintances. Matthias provides no evidence that Christina has ever asked or induced anyone to contact her for any reason, let alone to threaten her. Matthias states that she has subjectively felt fear and emotional distress, but cannot point to any threat or statement that would cause such a reaction in the reasonable person in Matthias's circumstances. Further, the requested injunction is unconstitutional. Then it goes on to say it would violate her First Amendment rights. And it says recent Utah case law makes clear that content-based restrictions on speech, even in the civil stalking context, must withstand strict scrutiny. The proposed speech restrictions in the requested injunction fall far short. Similarly, nothing in the requested injunction or supporting materials establishes that Christina acted with the requisite degree of culpability under recent U.S. Supreme Court case law. For these reasons, Christina respectfully requests that the court deny the requested injunction. Let me get a drink. Facts. Matthias relies primarily on 3 declarations in support of the requested injunction. 2 declarations from Matthias, the Matthias declarations, and a declaration from Grayson, the blank. This opposition relies upon and incorporates by reference the following declarations filed concurrently herewith, along with documents and things. Christina expects to introduce in her defense in the hearing. 1. The declaration of Christina. Declaration of blank, 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 and blank. For the sake of brevity, blank does not restate the facts from each of the foregoing declarations and instead provides a summary of the key facts as follows. 1. Matthias is a public figure with hundreds and thousands of subscribers on YouTube and tens of thousands of followers across various social media platforms. 2. Christina met Matthias in April of 2024 and maintained a friendship for several months thereafter. 3. By March 2025, the friendship had waned, and Christina did not initiate any contact with Matthias after that time. 4. In April of 2025, Christina spoke to Matthias about some of her public statements and conduct, which prompted Matthias to make a variety of accusations against and demands to Christina. Christina has not communicated directly or indirectly with Matthias since April of 2025. Around the same time, Matthias launched a series of accusations and demands against her other former friends and acquaintances, including blank, blank, and blank. Matthias also began behaving strangely towards blank and her friends, including, without limitation, blank, blank, and blank, blank, by approaching them or standing near them in public places, with the apparent intent to provoke a confrontation. Matthias sent blank and another individual a cease and desist, and contacted the police to report that blank and others were following or surveilling Matthias and her employee Grayson, when in fact it was Matthias and Grayson that were following them. 9. Christina was not present for the encounters between Matthias, blank, and others in June and July of 2025. 10. At no time did blank encourage or suggest that blank, 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 or any other person contact or approach Matthias. 11. Christina's social media posts and public comments since April have not been directed at Matthias and were not intended to communicate with Matthias directly or indirectly. Rather, Christina was addressing her social media subscribers' followers about topics of public interest in the true crime community, including Matthias' statements and conduct. Matthias has maintained her social media presence and continues to engage in public discussion by posting or streaming hundreds of videos since April of 2025. Matthias has used Christina's public statements as a pretext for quashing her speech and removing her from public events such as CrimeCon, which took place between September 5th and 7th in Denver, Colorado. 15. Matthias has misrepresented the events at CrimeCon in an attempt to secure the requested injunction and accused Christina of violating the temporary order. Argument. Stalking consists of two elements. The respondent must intentionally or knowingly engage in a course of conduct directed at the petitioner, and 2, the respondent must know or act with reckless regarding the course of conduct that would cause a reasonable person to fear for the person's own safety or suffer other emotional distress. Emotional distress is defined as significant mental or psychological suffering. Both elements must be present before a district court may issue a civil stalking injunction. Now let's break that down for a second and let's think about who Lauren was having testify as, or thought she was going to have testify as her expert witness. Her husband. Did she really think that she was going to be able to bring Dr. John and he could just testify to her emotional distress? That she didn't really need to seek out a doctor and actually go through seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist? That is insane. That is weird. Here, Matthias cannot prove either element to justify the requested injunction. Further, the Utah Court of Appeals recently reiterated that the First Amendment cabins the court's ability to issue a civil stalking injunction to only specific parameters. Content-based restrictions are presumptively unconstitutional and subject to strict scrutiny. Welcome to Cooterville, the boss lady. Good to have you. The requested injunction seeks content-based restrictions on speech and cannot withstand strict scrutiny. The rejected injunction is unconstitutional. A. Matthias cannot show she is entitled to the requested injunction under the stalking statute. I'm not reading the statute. Matthias fails to prove a course of conduct. Matthias's declarations recite only 2 instances where Christina communicated specifically with her. In both instances, Matthias initiated the conversation. First, at the Maricopa County Courthouse, Matthias approached and greeted Blank. Immediately after, Matthias insisted that Blank participate in a lengthy conversation about Matthias's past statements and conduct. Later in the month, Matthias again initiated contact with Christina, this time by text, to make accusations and demands upon Christina. As before, Christina reluctantly participated in the exchange.
Creep town, dude.
Thank you so much for making it easier to understand the freedom of speech in America. Not every country has the freedom to speak as you have. Stand strong for your rechts.
Thank you so much, Barbara Hall, for the czar. And thank you for being here. Free speech is a very, very important right in this country. And when people use the court systems to try to take that away, it's a big deal. It's a serious thing. Thank you so much again, Barb. So again, she did not participate. Okay. Indeed, Christina made no attempt to communicate specifically with Matthias, directly or indirectly, after the April text where Matthias stated she did not wish to be contacted. Because Matthias cannot point to specific communications directed at Matthias, she attempts to rely on many unrelated and irrelevant statements by others' conduct, and Christina's online posts and public statements. The problem is none of these satisfy the definition of course of conduct because none of them are directed or at or towards Matthias specifically. Statements and conduct by blank, blank, and blank. The Matthias declarations and blank declaration spend considerable time detailing statements and conduct of blank, blank, and blank. Blank, blank, and blank refute Matthias and Grayson's allegations in their declarations. But even if the allegations are true, they are not. What is noticeably absent is any proof that Christina engaged in or influenced any of these events. In some instances, she learned about them afterwards and discussed them publicly later. That is not enough to show course of conduct. Online posts and public comments. The stalking statute is clear that an act or statement does not meet the definition of course of conduct unless it is directed at a specific individual. Matthias asked the court to parse the contents of Christina's online posts and infer that Christina intended Matthias to see them. Such an exercise is impermissible under the stalking statute and problematic under the First Amendment as discussed below. And even if it were appropriate to extrapolate, I don't know if I'm saying that right, extrapolate, I don't know, Christina's intent from the content of her post, the post that Matthias references, show that Christina is not attempting to specifically address Matthias or Grayson. The posts are clearly public commentary directed at the public generally. Matthias fails to prove course of conduct. 2. Matthias cannot show that reasonable person in her circumstances would experience fear or emotional distress. So it goes through here, the laws. It says here Matthias cannot show that Christina knew or acted recklessly in such a way that the reasonable person in Matthias' circumstances would experience fear or emotional distress. Thank you, Italy. Matthias is a public figure who continually exercises her right to speak publicly about her life, her friends, and a variety of topics. Knowing this, Christina had no reason to expect that Matthias would attempt to quash Christina, much less through 2 false police reports and this proceeding. Further, the Bard factors all weigh strongly against finding that a reasonable person under these circumstances would experience fear or emotional distress. As discussed above, Matthias's background as a public figure, quote, ex-reporter and social commentator, certainly subjects her to public scrutiny. It is simply not reasonable that Matthias would expect to continually engage in public discussion, including negative statements about individuals, without encountering speech she disagrees with and does not like. Similarly, the only instances Matthias identifies where Christina communicated with her directly or indirectly related to negative statements and conduct towards Christina and others. Matthias has no reasonable basis to expect that a friend or former friend would not discuss interpersonal issues with her, especially whereas here, Matthias initiated the communication every time. Matthias attempts to turn her falling out with Christina into an injunction with real implications for Christina's civil rights. That is not the purpose of a stalking statute. The cumulative effect of Christina's alleged conduct does not warrant the requested injunction. As discussed above, with no real course of conduct to support her request, Matthias unleashes a torrent of unrelated allegations about others' conduct and Christina's protected First Amendment activity. All of that does not count under the stalking statute, barred, and other cases. The degree of culpability required prevents the court from counting events that Christina learned about only later. For example, Matthias has no good faith basis to claim that Christina intended or acted recklessly with respect to incidents in Boise when Christina was in Europe and learned about only after the fact. Christina was in Europe, y'all, when the Boise police report was filed. She wasn't even in this country. A number of other factors not specifically enumerated and barred also weigh strongly against the requested injunction. First, Matthias already submitted 2 police reports with the same sort of misrepresentations currently before the court. In each instance, the police did not substantiate Matthias's claims. Secondly, nearly all the statements and conduct that Matthias references occurred in public places or online. Matthias claims that they interfered in her quote-unquote work. But Christina and others also work in the true crime space or have been regular attendees of trials, press conferences, and conventions. Blank, 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 and blank have just as much right to be in the public places and participate in public events as Matthias. This is not a situation where Christina has accosted Matthias at home or any other public space. Third, Matthias's own conduct cuts strongly against any notion that she feared for her safety. Matthias and Grayson repeatedly approached, confronted, or attempted to confront blank, 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 and others. Not only does this contradict Matthias's testimony that she subjectively feared these individuals or was distressed, but a reasonable person in her circumstances would not engage in the conduct that Matthias has engaged in. Thank you so much, Ishi.
For making it happen. I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Relatedly, Matthias makes no attempt to connect the dots between Christina's alleged statements and conduct and the extreme subjective reaction Matthias alleges. In sum, Matthias fails to show requisite mental state, causation, or objectively reasonable fear or emotional distress. Ugh, tripping over my words. The requested injunction is unconstitutional. So now they go over all this law. I'm not reading all of that. Okay, personal conduct. This section requests an order commanding Christina to not stalk Matthias, and then recites and references the statutory definition of stalking. This provision is problematic for 3 main reasons. First, as a practical matter, it is vague, unenforceable, and redundant of other provisions. Utah law already prohibits stalking, and there would be no way to enforce the order without resort to the courts. The parties are attending the hearing to determine if stalking has occurred. There is no reason to enter an order that requires the court to do the exact same thing anytime Matthias believes Christina is stalking her. This is especially true since it's not clear what the personal conduct order adds apart from the other provisions. Second, the issuance of the requested injunction in any form would impose on Christina's civil rights and violate the First Amendment because Matthias relies on Christina's protected speech to establish stalking. Basically, Matthias is asking the court to agree with Matthias's public speech and disagree with Christina's. Such a restriction would be content-based because it is justified only with resort to Christina, message with the court adopting Matthias's viewpoint, punishing Christina, in essence, removing an entire topic, Matthias's own statements and conduct, from public discussion.
For making it happen. I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Maggie Marie, for the
making it
worms.
happen. Thank you.
Christina, what does he look like? Wow, CA, thank you so much. Thank you for the
I don't
49.
understand how she dares call herself a journalist when all she does is peddle fake empathy and real manipulation for clicks.
I agree with that. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. I appreciate that. And good to see you, Flo. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. It's very generous. Okay, where were we? Okay, here we go. There is no compelling government interest in favoring one speaker over another, and a broad, so broad as to be meaningless restriction on stalking is far from being narrowly tailored enough to withstand strict scrutiny. Third, the personal conduct order in the requested injunction mirrors almost exactly the one the Utah Court of Appeals reviewed in Ragsdale 2. Then he goes in to that. Now we're going to go down here to no contact. Matthias asked the court to bar Christina from communicating directly or indirectly with Matthias and others. But this section must be read in conjunction with the other assistance needed. Section where Matthias asked the court to order Christina to cease and desist any and all activity, online and communications, direct or indirect. Again, this restriction is content-based because it purports to quash speech on an entire topic. Okay, I'm going to go here. Stay away order. Matthias asked for an order that Christina stay away from Matthias's home, work, school, and vehicle. But as with the no contact order, Matthias modifies the form language and requests that an order that Christina must stay away from online forums and other social media accounts. This extra requirement is problematic on multiple levels. First, the restriction is content-based and cannot withstand strict scrutiny. On its face, the restriction appears to ban Christina from the internet. In one swath, Matthias hopes the court will eliminate Christina's ability to frequent all online public spaces. This ask alone unmasks Matthias's goal of eliminating Christina's ability to speak out on issues of public interest. The ban would be akin to allowing Matthias a popular pulpit in a public park while prohibiting others who disagree with her from the same public spaces. The First Amendment squarely forecloses this sort of preference. This is really good, huh? Second, to the extent that Matthias's request is meant to be interpreted more narrowly, it is unconstitutionally vague because it does not put Christina on notice of the extent of her ban. So if we go down here, conclusion. Matthias is allowed to not like what Christina has said about her. But Matthias falls far short of the statutory elements required under the stalking statute. And Christina's right to free speech forecloses the requested injunction. Christina respectfully requests that the court deny the requested injunction. And then it's dated this 19th day of September, 2025 by James C. Dunkelberger. Applause, applause, applause. Oh, wow. I know a lot of you guys are in here and you're feeling duped. You know, I hate that. I hate that. Let me come on here. I hate that. I hate that people get duped by people on this platform. Ugh, it's sick, right? but we are pro Dunkenberger because I think that they're exposing all the shit, right? She did expose herself. An elephant in the room. It's so transparent that it makes you wonder, did she do it on purpose? Is this some kind of weird, does she have like a, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where you could go from this that it would be good, but like, oh, to him, she's a trophy wife. Have you seen him? I don't know. Because it's almost so obvious that it's transparent. But then again, stranger things have happened. Lazy Wolf thinks it's the text. I know Christina hasn't said a thing since October 10th. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, the next one is going to be Christina's declaration. Are y'all ready for this? Let's see, how many pages is that? 9, 8. Okay, Christina's is the longest one. So this is the declaration of Christina. Okay, she's over the age of 18, personal knowledge, and the civil stalking petition filed by Lauren Matthias. Background. I met Matthias in April of 2024. Matthias holds herself out as an ex-reporter, journalist, and podcaster, dealing primarily with true crime cases. She's a public figure. She and her husband run a YouTube channel that has approximately 317,000 subscribers. Her Insta has over 20,000 and TikTok over 56,000. For several months, I communicated regularly with Matthias and we became friends. Throughout that time period, I noticed certain red flags that suggested Matthias's credentials and public image were inaccurate. For example, Matthias would describe me interpersonal problems with her friends and in-laws based on accusations of theft and fraud. Ooh, yikes. I also learned information that caused me to question Matthias's ethics in obtaining and handling confidential information. During this time period, multiple people expressed concern about Matthias's conduct. At approximately the same time I became friends with Matthias, I also became friends with blank and blank, who had been friends with Matthias for a year prior. I also became friends with other women who were acquaintances of Matthias, including blank. I communicated with and was invited to events with Matthias from April of 2024 to the winter of 2024. Matthias also invited me to her house while I was on a work trip in blank. Matthias also invited me and my family to her home to swim in her pool when we were driving from blank. My friendship with Matthias ends. Matthias asked me to perform some graphic design work for her and or her husband's businesses, which I did at a significant discount given our friendship. By January of 25, my friendship with Matthias was beginning to wane, and we communicated less frequently. I sent Matthias a final invoice in March of 2025 for the graphic design work. A copy of the invoice and correspondence related to my rate is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D1. By that point, I was no longer communicating on a regular basis with Lauren or spending time with her as a friend. On April 9th, I saw Lauren at the courthouse in Maricopa County, Arizona, after Lauren called out to me to get my attention. Now, April 9th was when those texts went out, y'all. There's the April 9th. Yeah, the free work. She does not work at the courthouse. She does not work there. The same date she had cease and desist. Thank you, Barbara.
I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Barbara says, may I ask why adults speak about adult conversations in front of children? I ask this with respect, as I feel the parents are then placing a lot on a child's shoulders. 100%. We have that question too, Barbara. Matthias ran towards me, calling my name with her arms out, signaling she wanted a hug. While hugging Matthias, I stated that I had read some of the negative statements she made about me and others, and that I had seen evidence of her efforts to harm others and their businesses. Lauren insisted that we talk right then and there, even though I was hesitant, because Matthias appeared to be in an elevated fight, flight, freeze state. Matthias stated that we needed to talk immediately because she wanted to be alone and her assistant Grayson never leaves her side. I'm sure that's not the only thing she's said about Grayson. Wake up, Grayson. Wake up. Things aren't going to get any better, Grayson. Okay, where was I? I'm reading your comments. I got to stop doing that. During that conversation, Matthias acknowledged that some of the negative statements that I had seen were true and then attempted to justify them. Because Matthias does not always accurately represent verbal conversations, I recorded the conversation. Oh, zoinkies. Oh, fuck. So this whole thing's recorded. Oh, Akira, thank you for your super chat. Does Laura not know about FOIAs? What the fuck was she thinking? After our friendship ended, Matthias initiated repeated contact with me to make accusations I knew to be false and demand I stop speaking about her, even with mutual acquaintances. Wow, you are a fucking entitled one, girl. After Matthias's initial contact, I exchanged several texts with her on April 21st to 22nd, 2025, regarding her accusations and demands. The texts are expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D2. Matthias blocked and unblocked me multiple times so she could state her demands and accusations without allowing me any response. Matthias's last text was on April 22nd. It again made false accusations about my conduct and demanded that I refrain from speaking publicly about her. I have not initiated contact with Matthias since March 12th, when I contacted her for a referral from my neighbor. I have not communicated with Matthias directly or indirectly since April 21st. However, Matthias unblocked me in August 2025 to remove things from one of our conversations, and I received an alert she had done so. Remember the text said, "You unsent a message"? Lauren went back through her fucking texts and unsent certain things. She unblocked Christina. So tell me that the 60 hours that Grayson sat through reading were not already altered and deleted and unsent. Get the fuck out of here. Your shit's going to need a Celebrate dump at this point. You have fabricated and manufactured shit. So they're going to need to do a Celebrate dump on your phone. Wow, this is wild. I don't think I've ever encountered someone this, calculated. Like, just being a fucking YouTuber. Reporting on true crime.
Town, dude.
Thank you so much, Barbara Hall, for another czar. Love from South Africa to our American friends and family from our beautiful country. We love you there in South Africa. Absolutely we do. It is beautiful there. Jealous of that. Also, on June 5th, 2025, I traveled to Arizona to attend a portion of the Lori Daybell trial. I was in Arizona for only 24 hours. Really, Glass? While seated between blank and another friend in the waiting area, I saw Matthias wave at me in an attempt to engage. I ignored her and did not respond. This was another example of Matthias initiating contact with me, not the other way around. Grayson tried to call me twice on June 10th. Wow. Wow, so she had Grayson trying to call Christina? It's an exhibity, y'all. Matthias, what were you thinking, girl? Grayson tried to call me twice on June 10th, but I did not answer or return the call. An image depicting the missed calls is expected to be offered in my defense in Exhibit D3. Sounds to me like Lauren was stalking via third party on her. Oh, shit. Here comes more. Here's Exhibit D4. Grayson also sent me a lengthy text message saying that she felt sad that I had my feelings hurt and wanted to have a private conversation. I did not respond. A copy of those texts is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D4. Grayson. You know what, Lauren? You should have written like movie scripts. You are fucking out there, girl. Out there. Like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Holy shiznuts. Matthias's conduct towards others. Since April of 2025, I have learned of multiple instances where Matthias has behaved strangely and obsessively towards my friends who were also former friends of hers. On April 11th, 2025, Lauren sent blank a cease and desist containing numerous demands aimed at curbing free speech. The cease and desist is Exhibit D5. Now, this is evidence. Notwithstanding the cease and desist, Matthias has taken purposeful steps to contact and communicate with blank. Blank describes these in details in her declaration submitted concurrently herewith. Thank you, Lisbeth. Emotional manipulation is abuse, especially toward a much younger woman who obviously looks up to her. Agree 1,000%. 1,000%. And then there's a footnote. It says Matthias sent a similar letter to another mutual acquaintance. The Matthias declaration describes two alleged instances in Boise involving blank, blank, and blank and others. I was in Europe when these occurred, and I learned about them only later. Blank, blank, and blank recount what occurred in their declarations submitted concurrently herewith. Oh, do we have the exhibits? I don't know. Let me see. I don't think so. No. No exhibitties. Okay. Now we're on this. Okay, then we have, I have since received the Boise Police Department report, which we just read, along with copies of the videos Matthias submitted to the Boise police. Some of the videos were my posts online, even though I was not in Boise when the alleged incidents occurred. In the report, the officer stated that Lauren provided me with videos of two different incidents, including the incident at Bitter Creek Ale House. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behavior in these videos. At no point did I ask, encourage, or facilitate any of my friends or anyone else to contact her. Indeed, in a majority of instances, Matthias herself provoked the encounter with me in and before April and recently at CrimeCon. And my friends, Matthias and Grayson, have engaged in a pattern of entering spaces where I already am. Matthias's efforts to prevent public discourse. As evident from her declaration and Grayson's, Lauren's main issue is with public statements that I have allegedly made about Matthias. Thank you, CA. This is your brain on Botox. For real. Thank you so much. Matthias mischaracterizes many of these statements or describes them vaguely to misconstrue them or present them out of context. For example, Matthias alleges that I mocked a police officer when, in fact, I merely pointed out inaccuracies in what the officer told me, as is my right. A recording of my post is expected to be offered as Exhibit D6. Matthias omits any discussion of the context of that video, which was that I was contacted by the blank police department after Matthias contacted police in June of 2025. Now, mind you, Grayson started texting her in June. Right? Look at these dates. Called the police on her in June. Had Grayson reaching out in June. What a bunch of bullshit. After Matthias contacted police in June to report that I and others were sharing private communications we had with Matthias, I expect to offer in my defense a copy of the blank police report as D7, in which the officer states that she did not find extortion, and no text messages were intercepted, and Matthias's private messages were not hacked. The Matthias declaration describes my public comments as targeted and aimed at trying to get people to identify who I am, to come after me. This is not true. Matthias also alleges that I posted an emoji on a podcast she participated in to, quote, let people know I was watching. The podcast was live and open to public comments. This is very important. This also goes to Beach. Anybody can come in your chat and comment. It's not, you can't do anything about that. It's free speech on a public platform. That's like going into a bar and telling someone they can't talk in there. You can't do that. It's insane that these people think, oh, if they come in my chat, they're harassing me. What? God. And she left emojis? Ooh. God. Read into things much? As Matthias's declaration seems to acknowledge, I did not post the emoji to communicate with Matthias, but to sign in and participate in the public chat. An image of the emoji is I fucking love this. I love this right here. Snazzy, thank you so much for 10 gifted. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Welcome in new members. Dude, look at this part. An image of the emoji is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D8. Dude, I gotta know what emoji it is. I've got to know what fucking emoji. Emoji has made it as an exhibity. I think they were actually crying faces. Oh, it was the eyes? Was it really? It was the eyes. Like, hey, I'm here. I always feel like somebody's watching me. As the Matthias declarations demonstrate, Matthias takes issue with any public post that I make about or related to her, and any effort I make to investigate and or report on issues of public interest relating to her. Some of my online content provides information about Matthias to the general public. My statements are not directed at Matthias, Grayson, or her family. I believe that Matthias's goal is to quash my efforts to investigate and report truth and exercise my free speech rights under the First Amendment. For example, Matthias often makes claims regarding her husband's credentials as a psychologist, an adjunct professor at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. However, I learned that UNLV has no record of Matthias's husband serving as an adjunct professor, which Matthias appears to acknowledge in her declaration. I created a video discussing this issue and posted it for public information. She put the shit about John in here too. I also believe that Matthias is attempting to prevent me from attending public events, such as criminal proceedings and true crime conventions. Matthias is attempting to use this action to further her goal. Through this action, Matthias had me removed from CrimeCon in Denver. On the weekend starting Friday, September 5th, 2025, I purchased my ticket in June of 2024 for approximately $1,800. That's a lot. At the time, I was regularly in communication with friends in Matthias. She was aware I purchased the ticket, and she said she had no plans to attend. As recently of June of 2025, Blank overheard Grayson tell a friend that Matthias said she did not have plans to attend CrimeCon. June, there's June again. Grayson's trying to reach out to Christina. The police report is filed. And Lauren is saying she did not plan on going to CrimeCon. Unbeknownst to me, blank, blank, and blank, Matthias changed her mind and attended CrimeCon, knowing that I would be in attendance with blank, blank, and blank. I later learned that Matthias announced her plans publicly on a live stream. A video of the announcement is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D9. She's got a video of her saying that she decided to go. Wow. I wasn't going to go, but now I'm going, people. That's crazy. This is crazy. Matthias was not a speaker and did not have a booth at CrimeCon. She purchased a day pass, and CrimeCon was not a work event for Matthias, as she stated in her second declaration. I arrived in Denver for CrimeCon and checked into the hotel on September 3rd, 2025. On September 5th, I was headed to one of the CrimeCon panels and was approached by the police. The police gave me the temporary injunction and told me to remain in the hotel and not attend any of the CrimeCon events. The police told me specifically where I could and could not go. The police explained to me I was permitted to remain in the hotel and access all areas of the hotel, except I was not allowed to go beyond the designated CrimeCon signage or into CrimeCon events. I asked about the hotel bar, and they told me I could be there so long as it was not the CrimeCon convention and I was not approaching within 500 feet of Lauren. The audio of this conversation is expected to be offered as Exhibit D10. That night, I was in the hotel bar taking a picture for blank of her employer. Prior to arriving at the bar, one of my friends confirmed that Matthias was not in the bar. After being in the bar for several hours, a friend notified me that Matthias had entered the bar. I immediately wrapped up what I was doing and left. I did not intentionally stand close to Matthias or Grayson, as Matthias alleged in the second declaration. Rather, they entered my space. On September 6, 2025, I was again in the bar in the hotel's restaurant when Matthias appeared because she, quote, wanted to come to the bar. She called the police and had me removed from the bar. During my conversation with police, Matthias and Grayson walked right by us, which is inconsistent with her claim that she was afraid of me. In other words, after serving me an order that prevented me from being within 500 feet of her, Matthias purposely entered that space to force an encounter, just as she had done the prior day, and to blank following the cease and desist letter. On September 7th, 2025, I was having lunch in one of the hotel restaurants. So we've got Friday, Saturday, now we're on Sunday of CrimeCon. I left with another individual blank and walked across the center courtyard between restaurants. I saw Matthias and immediately left the area with blank. At no point did I attempt to approach or communicate with her. The same weekend as CrimeCon, I posted 3 videos that I had created long before receiving the injunction. The videos are not posted as to a targeted account, as Matthias claims, nor were they directed at her and were not threatening, defamatory, or harassing. I did not believe the injunction restricted my ability to post public commentary. Matthias' alleged fear and emotional distress. I have never threatened or caused anyone to threaten Matthias, her husband, or her coworkers. During the time I was friends with her, I observed and learned many things about Matthias' mental and emotional health. I personally observed signs that Matthias was anxious, depressed, and otherwise mentally and emotionally unwell. This leads me to question many of the statements she makes regarding her mental and emotional health in the Matthias declarations, or at a minimum, the cause of the mental and emotional health problems. Similarly, the Grayson declaration claims that Grayson needed anxiety medication to manage the effects that Christina was causing, when I know from personal interactions with Grayson that she had received mental health treatment, including medications, well before the issues alleged in the declaration. Holy shit. This is crazy, yo. This is fucking crazy, yo. I did not cause, nor is it reasonable for Lauren or Grayson to claim I caused any of the issues they allege by exercising my freedom of speech and addressing the public about matters of public interest. I am not obsessed with Matthias, as she claims. I have simply responded when she has involved me or when she has made false or misleading public statements. I believe that Matthias is singularly fixated on preventing me from engaging in public discourse regarding any information about or even related to her, and that Matthias deems hurtful or harmful. None of my public posts show Matthias' face, use her name, or encourage others to contact her. I express my opinion on matters of public concern and of interest to my subscribers, followers, and friends. Lauren and Grayson have both engaged in conduct towards me, blank and blank and blank, and others that strongly contradicts their testimony, such as reaching out to me by phone, taking purposeful steps to put herself in the same location and physical proximity to us. Matthias' public posts also contradict her and Grayson's testimony that Matthias and Grayson have experienced fear or emotional distress. For example, while the Matthias declarations state that she was incapacitated by fear for months, she was actively creating, publishing, and promoting content on podcasts and social media during that same time period. Matthias has published live content over 100 times since April 9th, 2025. She has posted hundreds of pre-recorded videos and or podcast episodes during the same time period across the various platforms she uses. On July 6, 2025, Matthias and her husband posted a hidden true crime podcast episode called Cults and Conformity, in which they discuss a variety of topics, including interpersonal relationships, the nature of cults and communities, family dynamics, conformity, cyberbullying, and AI regulation. Multiple times in the episode, Matthias mentions how she has always liked, quote, chaos, though not, quote, necessarily the kind of chaos that hurts people. Lauren also describes how she does not like conformity, and for that reason, many people do not like her. Matthias' husband casually mentioned that their company had experienced, quote, growing pains due to negative interactions with the public. The episode contains no indication that Matthias was afraid, distressed, or panicking, which directly contradicts Matthias's and Grayson's testimony that they were unable to function in daily life and that the situation has persisted for 4 months. It also contradicts Grayson's testimony that Lauren's husband, a licensed psychologist, purportedly the very next morning confided in Grayson that Matthias was suicidal and rocking in bed just hours after posting the episode. Around the same time, Lauren also appeared on an episode of the Mormon Stories podcast where she shared her thoughts and personal details about her life. Again, this contradicts Lauren and Grayson's testimony that she was living in fear and unable to function. Instead, it illustrates how Lauren is using this proceeding as an attempt to quash legitimate public discourse on topics and issues that she has spoken about in various media. More recently, on August 2nd, 2025, Matthias appeared on the Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo podcast, where she announced that she would attend CrimeCon and discussed numerous other topics. To date, the episode has over 12,000 views and approximately 250 comments. And then she declares under perjury. Christina, signed Christina. What do you guys think? What are you guys thinking here? Let me see some of your comments. Hey, Lanake. I mean, this is a declaration. This isn't Lauren sitting in front of a camera telling you to believe her and trust you because she's her. You think so, Amber? Yeah, Christina's been treated awfully. Followed around. Pictures taken of her. This lady wanting her to go to jail for 30 days when she has an infant at home. For what? This is all sick. All right, we've got 2 more documents, and then I am going to get up on out of here. We've been live all fucking day. Okay, this is the next one. This is the declaration. Wait a second. Didn't we just read this? Oh, wait. Who is... Oh, okay. I saw this and thought it was Christina's again. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so we have Janice and we have Christina. And let me see something because I don't think the name is... I got to see this. There's a name that's not redacted over here and I don't want to... Hang on, I got to figure out how to do this. I just don't want to show anybody's names. Especially last names. Saying Janice or I'm not a professional redactor, so don't fucking laugh at me when you see this. I just want to make sure her name's not anywhere else in this document. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, no, we're good. All right. Okay, so this is going to be... I don't know who. Do you guys know who this would be? Declaration of L. Would this be Lindsay? I think this is Lindsay. Okay, so this is Lindsay. We're going to find out. I met Christina in April of 2024. I met Lauren in April of 2023. We were acquaintances and later became friends. I have also known Grayson for several years and previously worked with her. After May of 2024, I attended various events that Blank and Matthias also attend, including court proceedings, press conferences, and other public gatherings. My friend Blank and another friend Blank also attended many of the same events. My friendships with Matthias and Blank and others in our circle continued through the end of 2024. In January of 2025, I sent Matthias 2 text messages in an attempt to schedule a podcast collaboration with my current employer. We heard this in the audio. We heard this in the audio. Our text conversation was friendly and professional. The next time I saw Matthias in person was in April 2025 in Phoenix, when I attended portions of Lori Daybell's trial at the Maricopa County Courthouse. We greeted each other in line to enter the courthouse and had a brief conversation. I was at the trial for work, and I did not interact with Lauren at all during the remainder of my time in Phoenix. I later learned that early in the week of April 7th, 2025, Blank had a conversation with Matthias to discuss some of her statements about Christina. Then on April 11th, Lauren sent me a cease and desist, which made various accusations against me and demanded I cease speaking publicly about Matthias. The C&D accused me of actions I did not commit and did not present proof of her accusations. Thank you, JC, for 5 months. I appreciate your support. I believe the cease and desist was sent to threaten and intimidate me into silence because of my friendship with Christina. In April or May of 2025, I learned that Lauren made false claims that people were hacking her iCloud and extorting her. We read the police report. We saw it. At some point in June of 2025, I became aware that Lauren had called police regarding at least 2 of my friends, including Christina. Following the C&D, I have been present at many of the same public locations and events as Lauren due to my job. At no point have I videotaped, recorded, approached, talked to, or spoken publicly about Lauren. In fact, I have deliberately tried to stay away from Lauren and avoid even looking at her when we're in the same general location. Wesley, welcome to Cooterville. Thank you for joining.
Y'all welcome to Cooterville. Come on in and remember, close your legs.
Thank you so much. Thank you, moderators, for being here too. I really appreciate your time. That was Lauren, Autumn. The same cannot be said for Matthias. Instead, on several occasions since I received the C&D, Lauren and Grayson have intentionally positioned themselves very close to me in public, sitting beside me, sitting behind me, or standing next to me. At one point, Grayson appeared to be trying to read the screen on the device I was using. But we have Grayson saying she shoved the phone in her face, remember? In the police report, which they wanted to enter as evidence at the hearing, but didn't have a cop there to testify. Thanks, Kels. Each time they positioned themselves near me, it was unnerving and unsettling, and I believe the conduct was intended to intimidate. Lauren and Grayson's conduct persisted throughout April and June of 2025 whenever we were in the same public places. Christina was not present for any of these events. Welcome in, newbies. Can't scare, good to see you. You're cute. Got a lot of nice people that have joined in the last week. Matthias attempts multiple times to spark a conversation with me in Boise. In July of 2025, I was on a work trip in Boise, Idaho, where I attended Brian Koberger's sentencing during the week of July 21st, 2025. While outside the courthouse, sitting under a media tent with blank, Matthias and Grayson walked into my immediate vicinity and remained there, approximately 4 feet from me and blank. Later, I attended a press conference along with blank and blank. Blank and I were saving a seat for blank when Lauren and Grayson entered the venue. Lauren approached the area where I was sitting and asked aloud if there was an open seat. One of my other friends told Lauren that there was not a seat available. Lauren then addressed me directly and asked if the seat between me and blank was available. I did not respond to Lauren due to the prior cease and desist, as well as her attempts to weaponize the police with false hacking and extortion against my friends. No, Grayson is not married. Blank briefly spoke to Matthias to tell her that she did not feel that it was appropriate for Matthias to speak or sit by me, given the C&D. That's the video where we hear, you sent her a C&D. Like, don't talk to her. At that point, Grayson and Lauren crossed to the other side of the venue and easily found a seat, which made it obvious that there was no reason for Lauren to try to engage with me. Then, for no apparent reason, Matthias sent Grayson back across to our side of the venue. She always sends Grayson, doesn't she? Grayson came and stood right next to me and my group who were seated. Later that night, I went with blank, blank, and others to my favorite restaurant in Boise, Bitter Creek Ale House. Lauren knew that was my favorite restaurant based on past statements I made to her. We dined for approximately 2 hours before leaving to go get dessert at a different restaurant across the street. Thanks, Lisa. While some members of our group were in the restroom, we learned that Lauren and Grayson had arrived at the restaurant and positioned themselves in the outside dining area near the exit. Bitter Creek Ale House is a small seat-yourself restaurant, so Matthias' decision to sit there confused and frustrated me. I believe that Matthias and Grayson sat there deliberately to harass and provoke a confrontation. As we left, Blank again briefly spoke to Lauren and expressed her view that it was inappropriate for her to continue to try to contact or provoke an encounter with me given the C&D. We then crossed the street for dessert as previously planned. At no point did we attempt to further engage with Lauren. I was experiencing significant anxiety due to Lauren's continual attempts to contact me and had no desire to have any contact with Lauren. Days later, I learned that Lauren and Grayson had called the police and filed a stalking report concerning me and my friends. Now, mind you, Christina wasn't even there. Blank was not with us either during these events in Boise and was in fact out of the country. Christina did not suggest, ask, or otherwise prompt us to interact with Matthias at any of these events following the C&D or at any other time. Rather, it was Lauren and Grayson who initiated the contact. Lauren's conduct continues to present. Christina and I purchased tickets last summer for CrimeCon in Denver, which took place September 5th through 7th. Lauren was aware we purchased tickets, but we did not purchase them at the same time. As recently as June of 25, while in Phoenix, Grayson walked up to the area I was sitting and began a conversation with one of my friends who was sitting right next to me. In this conversation, I overheard Grayson state that neither her nor Lauren had plans to attend CrimeCon. Even though I had purchased a ticket to CrimeCon as an attendee, my trip also functioned as a work trip because my employer was scheduled to speak at 2 different panels. Matthias was not a speaker, presenter, or a registered creator with a CrimeCon booth. This can be verified through CrimeCon. So whoever Lindsay is working for was speaking at CrimeCon. Who does she work for? I wonder who that is. Nevertheless, Lauren and Grayson attended CrimeCon as attendees and continued their pattern of entering my space and trying to provoke a confrontation. I arrived in Denver on September 3rd. Christina had already checked into the hotel where we all were staying. On September 4th, I was with Christina when she informed me that her husband told her the police came to their home with a stalking injunction from Lauren. On September 5th, I was in the hotel bar with blank, setting up a table, an area where my employer wanted to record a podcast. That evening, Matthias and Grayson appeared in the hotel bar and repeatedly placed themselves within a 5-foot radius of me for a sustained period of time. At one point, Grayson came to the table where I was and stood approximately 2 feet away from me. I thought Matthias and Grayson's conduct was strange, since Matthias had listed me as an accomplice on her request for a stalking injunction. A similar situation occurred the following day at the hotel bar. A retired Orange County Police Department officer approached me in the bar and warned me that it looked like someone was following me. The retired officer pointed out the person, and it was Grayson. Oh, what? What? Wow. A retired Orange County Police Department officer approached me in the bar that night and warned me that it looked like someone was following me. The retired officer pointed the person out, and it was Grayson. I believe that Grayson and Lauren purposely engaged in this conduct to intimidate and harass me. Alleged fear of emotional distress. I dispute all the allegations regarding Christina's online posts and their alleged impact on Lauren, her husband, and Grayson. It is not clear to me what posts and public comments Lauren and Grayson reference in their declarations. However, I have listened to and reviewed a significant amount of Christina's content, some of which is about Matthias. The content does not threaten, defame, or harass Lauren. Christina does not purport to address Lauren indirectly or directly. Rather, Christina is engaging in public discourse regarding topics of interest in the true crime community. You think it's Banfield? Thank you, Akira.
For making it happen.
Which at times includes Matthias and Matthias's conduct and public statements. Matthias has spoken publicly on many aspects of her personal life, her purported credentials, and a variety of true crime-related topics. From what I know of Matthias and Grayson, based on their public statements and the time I've spent with them, I do not believe they have suffered the adverse effects they describe in their declarations. I also do not believe that it would be reasonable for a public figure like Matthias, who is outspoken on many issues, to experience fear or emotional distress from others exercising their right to public discussion on issues of general interest. Thank you, Nikki. There are pictures of Lauren with a general admission pass and pictures with a speaker pass. Interesting. I believe, based on my personal experience with the C&D and subsequent events, that Lauren is attempting to intimidate me and now Christina in order to discourage us from speaking publicly and attending events. I am also aware of other instances where Lauren has fallen out with former friends and subsequently made false accusations against the friend. And she signed this under penalty of perjury. crazy. We've got one more to go through. And this is Janice. But hold on one second. I'm going to get a drink again. I'll be right back. I do. Can you bring one? Okay, never mind. It's being brought to me. It's being hand delivered. Okay, so this is going to be Janice's declaration. Thank you so much. I'm almost done. I only have one more to go. Here. Okay. Yes, G-Dog.
Throw the dog in the house.
Okay.
Get ready for the dog pound.
Background. I met Christina in April of 2024. I've known Lauren for many years, but we have never been friends. Since April of 24, I have attended various events that Christina and Lauren also attended, including court proceedings, press conferences, and other public gatherings. My friend Blank and another friend Blank also attended many of the same events. In or around March 2025, I learned that Lauren had made several defamatory statements about me. Okay, Matthias sends a cease and desist. I attended Lori Daybell's trial in Arizona in April of 2025. On or about April 9th, I learned of a conversation between Blank and Matthias. Blank appeared upset, but Matthias did not appear anxious or fearful. On April the 11th, now remember, this is all the same dates, the 9th, the 11th, I learned that Matthias sent a cease and desist, which made various accusations against Blank and demanded that she cease speaking publicly about Matthias. On April 15th, 2025, I tried to talk to Lauren about the statements. Fearing that Matthias would misrepresent the conversation, I attempted to record it. Lauren approached me while recording me and asked if I was recording her. She later submitted the video to the Boise Police Department. So that's where we saw the interaction where she walked up and said, "Are you recording me? Are you recording me? Are you recording me?" She was, because she was going to have a conversation with her. So she turned on her recording. So she's admitting it. "Are you recording me? Are you recording me? Are you recording me?" All while she's recording her. It's ridiculous. I don't know if she thought this would come out or not, to be honest with you. Lauren became emotional and ran into the courthouse claiming that I was threatening and bullying her. She then reemerged and continued filming me, repeating that I was threatening and bullying her. I was not threatening or bullying her. Following this encounter, one or more bailiffs approached me about the incident. They told me Matthias claimed she felt threatened and asked if I felt threatened by Matthias. The bailiffs did not remove me from the courthouse or otherwise restrict me. They merely encouraged me not to talk to Lauren. Immediately thereafter, Grayson followed me in the bathroom and approached me various other times. God, this Grayson. God, this is weird. This is consistent with, and that's the only time that Grayson leaves her side. Because even Lauren said, "Oh, I need to talk to you because Grayson never leaves my side." But here's Grayson going around these people. It's creepy. That's so creepy. This is consistent with many instances where Grayson or Lauren have made allegations against me, Blank, and others only to enter our personal space and attempt to provoke a confrontation. This conduct and pattern persisted throughout April and June, anytime we saw them. For example, at the Daybell trial on June 10th, I was sitting in the courtroom awaiting witness testimony. During a break, Lauren and Grayson moved up 2 rows to sit directly behind me in the courtroom. Blank was not present for any of these events. That must be Christina. Christina was not present for any of those events. Lauren attempts multiple times to spark a conversation with me in Boise. I attended portions of the BK sentencing in Boise the week of July 21st. Lauren continued her unusual and concerning conduct in 2 main episodes that occurred on July 23rd. On July 23rd, I attended a press conference along with blank and blank. Blank and blank saved me a seat, and when I returned from the restroom, I learned that Grayson and Lauren, yet again, attempted to speak to blank despite the cease and desist. By the time I arrived, Grayson and Lauren had crossed the other side of the venue and were seated. Then, for no apparent reason, Lauren sent Grayson back across to our side of the venue. God, again? Grayson came and stood in front of me and next to my friends who were seated on that row. I took a video of Grayson standing next to us, but I did not put a camera in her face as she claims. A picture showing my position and related to Grayson is expected to be submitted for Christina's defense as Exhibit D11. Later that night, I went with blank blank and others to blank's favorite restaurant in Boise. We dined for about 2 hours before leaving to go get dessert. After I exited the restaurant, I learned that Grayson and Lauren had arrived and positioned themselves in the outside dining area near the exit. Given Lauren and Grayson's position, there was no way to exit the restaurant without passing right by Grayson and Lauren. Okay. Where was I? Grayson and Lauren. Blank again briefly spoke to Lauren and expressed her view that it was inappropriate for her to continue to try to contact or provoke an encounter with blank given the C&D. We then crossed and got dessert. At no point did we further engage. Nonetheless, Lauren called the police and accused us of stalking her. I spoke to an officer, explained the situation, and the investigation is now closed. I have received a copy of the Boise Police Department report. I have provided the report for Exhibit D12. I also received a number of videos that Lauren submitted as evidence of her claims. These included some of Blank's public posts, even though Blank was not present in Boise, as well as videos of the courthouse incident described above and the incident in Boise. How did she manage to get a temporary RO based on a police report where Christina wasn't even fucking there? I mean, this is ludicrous. In the report, the officer stated that Lauren provided me with videos of 2 different incidents at the Bitter Creek Ale House. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behavior in the video. That's a quote from the cop. How can you get away with lying to a judge? It's crazy. Christina was not with us during either of these incidents in Boise and was in fact out of the country. Christina did not suggest, ask, or prompt us to interact with them. Rather, it was Lauren and Grayson that initiated. I attended CrimeCon, which was September 5th through 7th. Grayson and Lauren attended CrimeCon and continued their pattern of trying to provoke a confrontation with me, Christina, and others. I was surprised later when Christina received a temporary restraining order. I am not aware of any attempt that Christina made to contact or otherwise engage with Lauren or Grayson at CrimeCon. Even when Christina was speaking to the police about the order on September 6th, I watched Lauren and Grayson walk right past where Christina was talking to the police. Lauren claimed in the request for the TRO that she believed she was in immediate danger, and Christina and her accomplices were planning another confrontation at CrimeCon. But I have a video from September 6th showing Matthias in a restaurant chatting with someone with Christina and others nearby. A copy of the video will be provided for the defense in Exhibit D13. At no point did I observe Grayson or Lauren experiencing any anxiety or fear. I dispute the allegations regarding Christina's online posts and their impact on Matthias, her husband, and Grayson. And then this is basically the same as the other girls. Yeah, it is. And that's signed under penalty of perjury. We got through them all. And you know what we figured out? Lauren Matthias is a bully. She's a bully, y'all. She lied to it. I mean, lying in court, that's a huge thing. It is. It's utterly despicable. And Grayson, it's crazy. So what do you guys think will happen from here? Thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate it. It's nuts. It's sad. She wanted this girl to go to jail and everything else. Everything in here is just blowing my mind. My mind is whirling right now.